Okay, this will be a little presentation about one method of calculating prices that businesses use. And this method utilizes something called the break-even point. And then we will look at something called a markup and then a markdown. Okay, so again, these are pricing techniques which fit into the 5 P's of marketing, this being the P for price. All right, so first up is the break-even point analysis. And you may want to get a calculator out and follow along with me because there's definitely going to be a lot of math here in this lesson. But to break even in anything means, at what point do you get back everything that you put into something? Okay, so for a business, it's basically how many units of something do they have to sell in order to get their money back from how much it costs to make the unit. Okay, so like it says, the point at which the gain from doing something equals the costs incurred pursuing it. All right, so like I said, put simply, this formula allows a business to figure out how many units of something they must sell in order to make a profit. Okay, because you can't make a profit until you break even. Okay, so this is what the break-even point tells companies or businesses. And here's the formula that you see. The formula is the fixed costs. Okay, remember the fixed costs. These are something that are set, easy to calculate. These can be, in this case, something like a machine that you need to produce something specific to this project. So you have something called fixed costs divided by how much you want to sell the product for. So what retail price do you think you're going to get for this product or service? Okay, so you take your fixed costs and you divide it by the selling price. You take that answer and you subtract the variable costs. Okay, so variable costs are things that like employee labor, things, electricity bills, all those other things that we've talked about. Okay, so you take fixed costs minus your selling price, subtract the variable costs, and that equals your break-even point. Okay, so it makes a little more sense when you see an example here. So you have 2K Sports. Oh, I put 2K14. I don't think that's out yet, but they want to sell their next video game for $50. They think that $50 is the market price that they can get for this product. So how many of these games do they have to sell in order to break even? So we have some data here. The variable costs will be $22 a unit. Okay, so variable costs to make this game are $22 for every game that's produced. And then they have fixed costs for this project of $35,000. Okay, so maybe they have to go out and buy some certain software, or they have to spend a specific amount. They have to spend $35,000 in order to make this game, to produce this game. Okay, so we take our formula here, our fixed costs, again, which was $35,000, divided by 50, which is the selling price. Okay, and then you subtract that answer from 22, and you get 678 units. So they are going to have to sell 678 games. Okay, so I'll walk you through, even though you're not going to see the numbers here, that 35,000, which again was the fixed costs, divided by the selling price of 50. That answers 700. Okay, subtract 22, and that's where you get the 678. So they would need to sell 678 copies of this game in order to break even on just this specific game. Okay, that's the break-even point. And if they didn't like this number, then they'd have to make some adjustments. They'd either have to raise the price or lower the price, figure out a way to lower these variable costs. Okay, do something if they didn't like that number. Okay, so then to add to that, now we want to make a profit. We don't want to break even, we want to make a profit, because businesses don't exist just to break even. They want to make extra money. So first you got to determine the break-even point before you know what kind of profit you're going to make. So to go from the previous example, we said that they were going to have to produce 678 units to break even. And we also said that there was $22 in variable costs per unit. Okay. Now, the fixed cost of $35,000, maybe that was to buy the machine or to upgrade software, that's already been paid for, right? That got paid for when we sold these 678 units. So we don't even need to worry about those now, that cost. All now we have to worry about is it's still going to cost us $22 to make the game. We got to pay our employees to make it. You know, there's rent, all those other things. Okay, so that's all we have to worry about now because we've already broke even with these units. So if the company said we need to make a $200,000 profit from this game, so that's their goal, a $200,000 profit from selling the NBA 2K14 game. The sales price still $50 minus those variable costs of $22 equals a $38 profit per unit. So every time they sell one of these games now for 50 bucks, $38 of that is pure profit. So we take the $200,000 goal, divide it by the $38 profit that they will get, okay? And that comes out to 5,263 games or units to make this profit, okay? Now keep in mind, I don't have it written here, that this 5,263 games is over and above this 678, okay? Because they had to sell 678 games just to break even. And that helped pay for the $35,000 machine or software that they had to buy just to get this game going, okay? So this amount is over and above. So total units would be 5,263. Add that 678, and that's truly the amount of games that they would have to sell in order to reach this goal. Okay, so it's a pretty simple formula once you understand the concept of a break-even point. Okay, so you have to get that first. Okay, next up, it's a little bit simpler here, a markup. Okay, so marking a product up. It's a little bit of a different philosophy here. So the amount added to the cost of an item to cover the expenses and to ensure a profit. So we use the iPad stylus here, so not as expensive of an item. So whoever the manufacturer is of the stylus, it costs them $6.50 to make the stylus, okay, to get the raw materials, all the employees, everything else, the machines, everything else. $6.50 per stylus. They're going to add $3 to that because they have a philosophy of a $3 markup. The retail price is going to be $9.50. That's what you and I could buy it for. On the flip side, you can do it as a percentage. Again, the cost to make the stylus is $6.50. Your company has a philosophy or a kind of a policy that all your products have to have a 40% markup or you don't make them. So a 40% markup on $6.50 would be adding $2.60 to the price of that product. So your sales price would be $9.10. Okay, so a markup can be done dollar-wise, or a markup can be done as a percentage of the cost to finally arrive at a retail price for your product. All right, and then on the flip side, the exact opposite is a markdown. Okay, so markdown is the official business name for putting something on sale. So why do you put something on sale? It's because you want to encourage more purchasing of that product. It's pretty simple. Okay, so you take the price that you were charging, add the markdown, there's your sale price. Okay, so we see this all the time. You have a $110 cell phone. We're going to make it 30% off today, so a 30% markdown. So 30% of 110 is $33. Subtract $33 from the 110 price, and we now have this cell phone available for sale at $77. Okay, so that's a markdown. That's pretty simple. Okay, and lastly, here's a pretty good video about how much some products are actually marked up, how much profit companies make by selling us certain products. And this is really eye-opening here, so I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Some of those things things you buy to treat yourself can come with a big price tag. Call for Action's Keith King with a list of overpriced products you may want to avoid. Hey, Keith.
Yeah, good evening, Elizabeth. We are talking about markups on products, from the bottle of wine you order in a restaurant to that big bag of popcorn that you'll get the next time you're at the movies. You may be surprised to know just how much you're spending. When it comes to texting, most of us carry a basic plan to avoid costly communication.
I was on like maybe 300 texts a month, and it'd be frustrating when you go over and you get hit with those overage charges.
With text messages, less can save you more. In other words, long-winded text messages can cost you. According to WalletPop.com, outgoing 160-character messages can cost the user 20 cents. The cost to the carrier is just 0.3 cents. That's a 6,000% profit. Short message service texts are limited to less than 160 characters. The carrier uses a secondary data channel to send the information, and that saves you money. Other products with a pricey markup, according to WalletPop, bottled water, a 4,000% markup. Movie theater popcorn, 1,275% higher compared to that bag of microwavable popcorn. And wine at a restaurant, average markup, 300%. Need a caffeine fix?
I drink coffee probably 2 or 3 days a week, usually with a friend, using it social things. It's usually between $2 and $4 a cup. Maybe only up to $10 a week on coffee, so it's not too bad. I don't see it as necessarily an issue.
The average markup on that cup of Joe, according to WalletPop, is 300%. The basic cup can cost you $1.50 to $3. It can be made at home for just $0.25. Find out other overpriced products by going to NBCActionNews.com, then go to the Call for Action page. Hey.
Okay, and that is the end